Today we're going to tackle a really profound question. It's one that sits at the very heart of the Bible, but honestly, it often goes completely unnoticed. And the question is this: if God has a personal name, why on earth was it systematically removed from Scripture thousands of times? Okay, let's dive in. So let me start with a question for you, a really simple one. What is your name? Just think about it for a second. I'm willing to bet you didn't answer with something like, I'm a teacher or I'm a parent. And that's because, right, those are just your roles. Your name? Well, that's something so much more fundamental. It's your unique identifier. It's who you are. Okay, so if a name is that crucial for our identity, what about for God's? And this is the central mystery we are unpacking. Why was his personal name, a name that appeared in the original scriptures, taken out and replaced nearly 7,000 times? To really get to the bottom of this, we first have to get crystal clear on what's in a name. We've got to nail down that difference between an identity and a role. Yeah, check this out. This slide just lays it out so clearly. Let's take the name John Bull. That's his identity, right? That's him. Now look at the other side. Mr., Doctor, Father. Those are all titles. They tell you what he does or his relationship to other people, but they don't tell you who he is. They're just roles, not his core identity. All right, so now that we've got that difference down, let's see how this whole idea applies to the lost divine name. A name that was first revealed and then kind of mysteriously hidden from view. This whole story really kicks off in one of the most famous scenes in the entire Bible, Moses at the burning bush. He's about to be sent on this huge, life-changing mission, and he asks this incredibly important question. He says, hey, if the people ask for God's name, what am I supposed to tell them? Well, God answers him. He reveals his personal sacred name. And listen, this name wasn't some minor detail, mentioned once or twice. In the original Hebrew scriptures, it showed up nearly 7,000 times. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. 7,000. And this is the name. It's represented by these 4 Hebrew letters, YHWH, which we often pronounce as Jehovah or Yahweh. This was not a title like Lord or Almighty. No, this was God's personal, self-chosen name. So how did a name that was there 7,000 times, pretty much, vanish from most of our Bibles today? Well, it happened through a practice called suppression by substitution. Basically, over time, a tradition started where scribes would replace God's personal name, YHWH, with a title, usually the word Lord, in all caps. But hang on, was this really an act of reverence, like some people claim? Or was something else going on? Let's explore why the source material here argues this was suppression, not true honor, and look at the real consequences of a missing name. Okay, to really get what's at stake here, we have to talk about one specific word, hallow. It's a simple word, but it's powerful. It means to set something apart as holy, to honor it, to treat it with the deepest reverence. And this is where it gets really interesting, because that word is front and center in maybe the most famous prayer in the entire world, the one Jesus taught his followers. It starts with the line, "Hallowed be your name." So this is the crucial point, and it raises a huge question that just hangs in the air. If God's personal name has been literally erased from the text and swapped out for a generic title, then what name are we actually hallowing when we say that prayer? A title? A role? And if you want to see the confusion this causes in action, look no further than this. Check out this comparison from Psalm 110. On the left, when you use the name, it's perfectly clear. Jehovah said to my Lord. Simple. God the Father is speaking to the Messiah. But on the right, you get, the Lord said to my Lord. Right? Who is talking to who here? The whole divine conversation just gets fuzzy. It's blurry. All the clarity is just gone. The source material just nails it with this phrase. This isn't just some small translation issue we're talking about. It's a theological fog machine. Instead of illuminating the text, it actually conceals the meaning. It creates confusion where the original text was trying to give us clarity. Okay, so this brings us to our final section, and it's all about the solution. The thinking is, if you restore the name, you restore the clarity. That true reverence means we should try to align with the original scriptures. I mean, the stakes couldn't be higher. Look at what the Apostle Paul wrote, quoting the ancient prophet Joel. Everyone who calls on the name of Jehovah will be saved. See how specific that is? It's about calling on the name, not just some general title.
And this idea, it lines up perfectly with what we know about Jesus' mission when he was on earth. His whole purpose wasn't to support a tradition that buried his Father's name. It was the exact opposite. He came to make that name known.
And look, we don't even have to guess about this. We have Jesus' own words, recorded in a prayer to his Father in John chapter 17. He says it so plainly, "I have made your name known and will make it known." That's a direct statement about the purpose of his entire mission. And all of this brings us right back where we started, to the Lord's Prayer. So after going through this whole history of suppression and substitution, this explainer leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to think about. When you pray, "Hallowed be your name," which name will you hallow?